switching over to AC/DC now.
Oh, that's right. You're still doing the intro. So you guys are listening to Metallica, actually my favorite song from Metallica.
Wow.
Although I think they just released a new song. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, it was like we're totally not talking about bourbon today. We're talking about Metallica. But anyway, I think they did. I saw something where it said new song or something. Anyway.
Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah. All right. So welcome to Friday, and this is our bourbon tasting. Again, no name yet. We'll be creative about that over the next couple of weeks. But today we are talking about Weller Reserve. So, Chris, why don't you give how you got this, number one.
Okay, so this...
And maybe before you start rambling about this allocation day, why don't you explain to people what an allocation day is and like what it is? Because you can get this anywhere, right? But there's a difference between what they say you should sell it for, the retail price, and what you can actually buy this for, and why you went to the allocation.
So day. Buffalo Trace gift shop in Frankfurt at the distillery. Buffalo Trace allocates what they make. There's only a certain amount of it. So this one is one of the ones that is available at the gift shop, but it's random which one will be available that day. So all of the allocated series, there's only one of them available that day. So I got this by standing in line the morning of Thurby because I was going to the race later that day and I had nothing to do that morning, and I live out that direction. So I said, I'll go wait in line. And it was a pretty day, and this is what they happen to have. Now, if you buy, in this particular case, I bought this Derby week. I've got to wait 3 months before I'm allowed to buy this at Buffalo Trace gift shop again.
But you can buy it at a retail location.
If you can find it, you can buy it at a retail location. It is difficult to find. This is the least expensive of the Wellers, and I would argue it's probably the least good of the Wellers, which is saying something because this stuff is good. Right. It's really good.
It is really good.
But
actually, I've not had this. I've had the Weller 12.
You've had the 12. You haven't had the Special Reserve. Yeah. So, and we tend to call these by the label. This is the green label. Yeah. The 12 is the black label. That is my absolute favorite bourbon. What makes Weller cool, and they do make this at Buffalo Trace. It came from Weller and Stitzel or Steitzel, however you say that, in Louisville originally. They sold the recipe to Sazerac some years ago, so now it's made out of Buffalo Trace. We talked last week when we did Eagle Rare about Eagle Rare's the poor man's Pappy or the poor man's Blanton's. This is the same mash bill as Pappy Van Winkle. So if there is a poor man's Pappy, this is the one.
Yeah. And let's just clarify, poor man's. This is still expensive.
It's still not cheap. Now, the retail on this, I think this is $32, and that's what makes going to the gift shop great.
Right. Yeah, but you rarely can find it for.
If you can find this,
it's hard.
If you can find this in a liquor store, you're going to pay $75 to $100, depending on how greedy they are. Yeah. And it's definitely going to be limited to you're only allowed to buy one, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Like we talked about last
Exactly. With the Eagle Rare, it's the exact same problem. I am a bigger fan of this than I'm the Eagle Rare because I like wheated bourbons. And this is a wheated bourbon, just like the Pappy's. It's the same mash bill. The problem with wheated bourbons, there's not that many of them, is it makes it a little bit soft. And most times when you do that, the flavor doesn't come through. But it does with Weller. Yeah. So that's the reason I'm a huge fan of Weller. I like the entire product line. The 12 and the full proof, which are an absolute impossible to find. Some of the best bourbons you'll ever drink at any price.
Yeah. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. So if you ever take a chance to read the back of a bottle, there's always some kind of story, right? They're always telling the story of the bourbon or some weird story. But it says a W.L. Weller, which I'm assuming is the person.
William LaRue Weller.
Of course he would know.
There is, the top end.
How did I ever imagine he would know?
The only reason I know that in my defense is because the very top end Weller bourbon is called William LaRue Weller. And I've never had it, and it is a true unicorn. You can't find it, and if you do, you're going to spend 4 figures on a bottle of it.
I just imagine. I imagine Chris sitting at home on a Friday night. Nothing else to do. He is like Googling anything bourbon and just reading about it. So he can just...
Well, he might be in his hot tub doing that too.
No, see, I'm in the hot tub mixing.
Yeah, and he's regurgitating everything he reads on these shows. Because no one knows who WL is. I didn't even... Anyway.
I am an endless warehouse full of useless knowledge.
That's 100% true. I can tell you that.
That's my modus
We
operandi.
can we can contest to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, so there's always connections to bourbons, right? There's always connections, and I'm gonna tell you a quick story about another one too. But this is W.L. Weller, was actually born in Kentucky in 1825. Said he served in the Louisville Brigade in the 1940s. So
1840s.
I'm sorry, 1840s.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
1940s, that'd be a long time.
That's an old dude.
That dude was old. No, but it's just kind of cool to know the story and the connections behind all these. It's just it's just kind of a cool story. So anyway, let's taste it. I have not had this particular one.
You've
I've
had the
Weller
12,
12, and it was really good.
Incredibly smooth.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell you what, this is not as sweet. Well, it's still sweet, but it's not as sweet as the Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
This has a little bit more of a little spicier aftertaste.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Like a lingering spicier than, but it's not bad at all. It's only 90 proof, so
Still very, very, very smooth.
Yeah. To me, this is super smooth. I can taste honey. I can taste the vanillas and the oak and everything that you expect. But and this is where a wheated bourbon, it has what they call a mouthfeel. What I mean? It just is very, very pleasant. But most wheated bourbons, they have no taste. There is a very famous one. We've tested one of their versions here on the show, and we all liked it. But their original, it has candle wax on it. That's the big complaint. It's a wheated bourbon, and the taste just doesn't come through. It really comes through with Weller. That's why this is so popular.
You're talking about makers.
I am talking about makers.
There's no burn.
I'm not a Makers fan at all.
Right,
Oh,
and that's
really?
why. The regular, now I like the 46 and the cast strength, which we did here on the show, and I love all those. But the original one, the flavor does not punch through that wheat. Weller does. Even in the cheapest one that they have, the green label, the flavor still punches through.
Yep.
Well, there's no, last week we did Eagle Rare. Yep. There's no burn at all on this one. I mean, this is really, really, really smooth.
Yeah, it's super smooth. All right, so I've tried it. I'm going to put a little piece of ice in there.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to tell you right now, because of the consistency of the show, I am going to put a small ice cube in it, but I'm going to drink it most of the way down because I know this is better.
Right. I agree. Yeah.
And I don't want to ruin something.
And I'm
that I
usually a
enjoy
rocks
this much.
guy, but not these rocks. Big rocks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So here's the thing. We always say this on the show. We probably don't repeat this enough. But if you're watching this, and a lot of people do, because we get calls about how many people watch it. We also get the report, so from when we post it, how many people viewed it. But here's the thing: if you are trying to taste bourbons and you're looking to try a new bourbon, make sure that somebody, I forgot where I was. I was at somebody's house. Oh, I remember. I was at somebody's house and they had Blanton's, and they were like, "Oh, I've never had Blanton's. Give me some blends and put a little Sprite in there." And I'm like, "What are you doing?" So we had a little conversation. I know.
That makes my heart hurt.
I know, but we had a conversation like, "Oh, I'm a bourbon guy." I'm like, not really. But the point is that when you're trying a new bourbon, try it multiple ways because you never know how you're going to like them. If you've watched us any length of time, you'll hear us say, Chris may like one with water. I like, or cooled off. I like it without, with just neat. Aaron may like it with, a big block of ice in there. So you just never know how you're actually going to like something until you actually try it. The only way to really try it is put some in a glass, right? Smell it and all that good stuff. Then try it neat. You don't have to drink the whole thing neat, right? Take a couple of sips.
Yeah, do what we're doing.
Yep, and say, okay, all right, I got to get that one. Then put a little piece of ice in there. Taste it. If you want, you can get the. Actually, there was a kit I ordered for a client of mine who had a birthday. He turned 60, and so I sent him.
Oh yeah, remember.
I sent him a little kit, and it had the stones in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so you freeze the stones and put them in there. And it's supposed to chill it out, and it's kind of cool. But that's another way. You chill it, but you don't water it down. That's another way. We don't do that on this show, but we certainly could do that. So I can't stress enough to make sure you're trying it multiple ways, and not just the same way you try bourbon every single time, either with ice or without. Change it up a little bit because I promise you will get different flavoring when you try it neat versus chilling it
Also,
versus watering it down.
as we proved when we did the I.W. Harper Cabernet a few weeks ago, changing the glass makes a big difference sometimes. So try it with different things. You might find out that you like it even better doing it this way than you did that way.
Yeah, and here's an interesting piece. I know I repeated myself like four straight times there. Sorry about that. No, so we had a gentleman in here at one point that was a master distiller.
Yep.
Right? Is very well known. So if we said his name, everybody in the bourbon industry would know who he is. But the interesting thing is, he was talking to us about how he tastes his bourbon, and most of us, we just poured out, or poured it, not out, but we poured it into a glass and kind of wave it around, smell it, taste it or whatever. It's interesting. He said that he puts it in this particular glass that's like concaved on the bottom. Remember he tells the story? It's concaved on the bottom. And he lets it sit out for 24 hours. And it evaporates all the alcohol out. And then you can taste it. And that's where you taste all the flavoring.
Wow. I didn't hear that. That's cool.
Because all the alcohol's gone. So mostly what you're tasting is the burn from the alcohol. You're not really tasting the flavoring, although it has flavor. But you essentially pour it into a glass and let the alcohol evaporate, and then you taste it. Then you're really tasting all the flavoring.
Interesting.
That's technically in a bourbon. So, and I've actually tried that, although I may not have the right glass, but I did try it. And it does change the taste, but my palate's nowhere near where his is. I can promise you that.
Mine's not either, but I can tell you right now, when I get home tonight, I'm going to grab a Glencairn glass, which is the most similar to what you were describing.
Yep.
It's not the same thing. And I'm going to pour a couple of different things into a couple glasses and leave them out overnight. I'm going to try them tomorrow night and see what happens.
Yeah, and you can glab that too.
I'm going to glab that?
Yeah,
And
it's Friday.
it is Friday, and it's been a couple of interesting weeks in our business, so we deserve this. I said a minute ago, I really don't want to put a cube of ice in here, but just for continuity, I'm going to do it. That's actually good. I didn't put very much in there, just a couple little bitty tiny cubes that have melted. Yeah. The caramel's really coming through now. It's less complex now than what it was, but it's so good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is really good. It's to me, I could do this either way. I could drink it neat, and I don't think it loses a lot of flavor.
No, it didn't. It really didn't.
No, it didn't. So to me, I could do it either way. So
I tell you what, here's one of the telltales. All three of us are going, yeah, this was good both with and without. Yeah. But Miss Producer's glass is empty. And I know she had some when this started.
Oh, you did? Okay.
So, and I never saw the shimmy shake or the shiver factor or whatever one would call it. So that says, did you put any ice in it? Or
the reality here is
she apparently really liked it.
The reality here is we're spoiling her because last week and this week she's got to taste ones that just don't have any. There's not no bite to them.
Yeah.
Right.
So these are as smooth as.
Started with that 125 proof, though, so.
Oh, that's
we started her off
had to
with
scare
one
you
that's
from
set
the
on fire.
beginning.
That's true. I mean, we've had some tough ones that.
Well, now interesting. We're going to do the entire allocated series. So the next one through the Buffalo Trace allocated. The next one is the E.H. Taylor small batch. Now that's a bottled in bond, which we'll talk about when we do the show. That's like one of the first food safety laws in the United States. All that, but that's 100 proof. So this one's what did we say? This is 90, right?
Yeah.
That's going to up it a little bit, and I'm interested in how she's going to react.
Yeah. The one thing about this is, I don't know if Miss Producer actually has a picture of that, but this is actually very dark. If you see some bourbons, they're a little bit lighter in color.
Yep.
This one actually, when you look at it, and it's in a clear bottle, it's very, very dark. So to me, you would think that'd be like
Older.
Yeah.
older. Well, it'd be older, but it'd also be a lot more spicier because I don't know. To me, just the darker they are, the more kind of heavier the taste is. It's not at all. So it's got a very good color. It's super. I think to me, it's kind of super.
And I think that comes back to the mash bill. Remember, if you don't know what a mash bill is, that's basically the ingredients in what they're going to distill, where the yeast and everything develops. In this particular one, there is no rye. And rye is where that spice normally comes from. Yeah. And they replace that with wheat, hence wheated bourbon. And you're right, it is a very dark color. They've taken the age statement off, so I don't know that we know how old this is. We don't know exactly what the mash bill is because Buffalo Trace keeps that very secret. Right. Yeah. We think it's the wheated mash bill, just like the Eagle Rare we think is mash bill 1, and we don't even know what those are.
Yeah.
But you know what? You can sit here and break this one down all you want to. This is just a fantastic bourbon.
It's very good. What's the price point again?
Retail on this is $32.
Yeah, but what can
What-
most
what-
people-
Realistically, you're going to be in the 75 to 90 range if
Okay.
you can find it.
And if you really want it right now, what are you paying for it online?
You know what? This is one that I have a connection for. I can get this one. So I don't know because I keep this. This is a permanent one on my bar because I have that connection and I know what I'm paying for it. I'm not going to say
Right.
it online.
Right. Okay.
Because
This
people will start shopping for me.
This producer's going to look that up.
Okay, she's finding it online for $60.
That's not bad.
That's
That's not bad.
that's not as bad as I would have thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so last week we had Eagle Rare, and we talked about that, how we all liked it. It's very similar to this, right? Not a whole lot. It's only 90 proof. Very good,
Yep.
right? We all liked it. And then we get finished, and he was like, "You know where I got that?" And I'm like, so he tells his story, and it's like,
Where I got it was a little scary.
he got it at Target.
Oh, you're not supposed to tell people that.
Honestly, not that many people are going to, but it's interesting. And the reason I bring that up is because you never know where you're going to find a bottle of
That's
really
right.
good stuff. Because I have literally walked into little liquor stores that you would not anticipate having like a nice bottle.
Yep.
And I walked in there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you have that sitting on your shelf.
Yep.
I literally walked into a little place over off Murphy Lane, if you guys know where there's a little liquor store over there. And I walked in there and they had a bottle of cream of Kentucky in there for $125. So I bought
That's
it.
a steal at that price.
Yeah, I bought it.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those things that they only had one, and it was up like behind the register, sitting on a shelf, and most people wouldn't even know what it is, but we know because we got a little connection there.
Yeah.
But so you never know. You don't have to go to a fancy liquor store that has thousands and thousands of bottles of bourbon. You can walk into a Target or walk in anywhere, and they have really, really good stuff in there sometimes. So, look, if they sell liquor, walk over there, walk them down the bourbon aisle and see if they got something that you find interesting.
You never know what you're going to find, and you will educate yourself, and you will catch yourself buying things that you wouldn't have tried.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, you end up finding something that's like, wow, that's really good. I mean, we did the episode where we decorate bottles, and,
Yep.
and I will occasionally buy something because it will make a good decoration. And all but one time that I've done that, I ended up buying something that was good to drink. Now that one,
Right.
that is epically bad. It has become the joke in our office.
Which one is that?
I'm not going to say that one on the air because of libel reasons, but it is like drinking
Have
gasoline.
we had it?
I will give you a hint. No, we're not going to put that one on the show, but
No,
it
no,
is.
but we
It is
had
in
it
the
here?
back, and I'll get it out
Oh,
for
okay.
you.
All right. No,
I will
want it.
tell you that they are currently being sued
Oh, okay, never mind.
by another distillery, so that might narrow it down for people who want to do the research.
Yeah, got it.
So
All right, let's
it,
give our-
it is gasoline though. It's horrible.
We've had a few of those in here.
Yeah.
All right,
Yep.
let's give our opinion here. I think we all know what these are going to wind up.
I'm going to go ahead and give this one a full 8, even though it's a whole lot cheaper than a lot of other things I would rate that high.
Yeah.
And the reason why is I love wheated bourbons. And of the wheated bourbons that you can actually get your hands on and not, have to win the Powerball to afford,
Right.
this one is probably the best one on the market.
Yeah, I'd go 8.
I love this stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 8, just like the one last week. I think it was good. Again, this one, if I had to get a little edge, I'd do this one because whether I drank it neat or chilled, it was I got the same flavoring. So
Yep. I'm gonna go 8.5 again. Same
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
rating I had last week. Again, this is a good one.
That should tell you something about the Weller line, that all 3 of us went 8 or 8.5
Yeah.
on the lowest end one in the
Right.
entire series. That's an impressive product right there.
yeah, no, it's very good. All right, so anyway, that's another week. It is a Friday afternoon, and we're probably not finished drinking. We're finished drinking here at the office. Then we're gonna all go home. Make no question about that. All right, so anyway, make sure that if you like our podcast or whatever we call this show, make sure you tune in every week because we review a bourbon. I don't know what we're gonna do next week.
Well, the plan is E.H. Taylor Small Batch.
Oh, you've got a bottle of
Yeah, it's
Okay.
ready to go.
Okay,
I've kept it sealed for the show.
Okay, well there you go. That's our next week's show. And then make sure you tune in. Last week we did Eagle Rare, and then anything after that, again, we're probably up to maybe 40 or so bourbons, maybe more. I don't know. But make sure you go back and look at all those. You can catch all those at our website. We also have 2 other podcasts. One is a financially related podcast, right back here on our name,
Which is what we do.
Which is what we do, by the way.
Other than drink bourbon.
Yeah, we just drink bourbon for fun. But anyway, we do that. Also have a TV show that comes on every Saturday morning at 10:30. Make sure you tune into that, support that show. We would greatly appreciate it. And again, we talk financial related stuff. So sorry about that, my little babble there. But anyway, I'll let Chris sign us off for another week.
So like and subscribe. I'm not going to do this as well as Eric does,
All right,
but
go
he's out today. Like and subscribe. Hit that little red button on YouTube, and then everything that we do is going to pop up on your YouTube feed. And one thing that I will add to that is, we've been asking people if you got a name for the show, by all means. But if you've got a bourbon that you would like us to try and review, we will be happy to see if we can get our hands on that. Please be realistic. We're not going to go out and find a bottle of Pappy 20-year and bring it into the show. That's not. But if there's something that's realistic to find, we will go out and get that, and we'll try it.
Yep, yeah, for sure. All right, so anyway, have a good week, and we'll catch you guys next week on, we'll review a bourbon next week. How about that?